Hey, Alex, a lawyer and a financial advisor walk into a bar.
And then what happens, Dave?
Well, that topic that comes up constantly, cryptocurrency.
Oh, the magic get-rich-quick scheme, crypto.
Yes, haven't we all got on that little pony?
Yeah. Well, I think if you got on it like 20 years ago, I think people have done quite well, but I think everyone else has struggled.
Well, it's also, I mean, it's a really kind of interesting thing. I look at it from a crypto point of view. People go, oh, it's crypto. Okay, yeah, but kind of what does it mean? What does it kind of look like? And there's a whole range of different definitions and how do you put it out there? And look, there's definitely people that have made money. Like there's no kind of, but we can also see there are people that are probably about to go to jail.
So, yeah, definitely. FTX collapse, Sam Bankman-Friedman or whatever his name is.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So, and there's people that were like, oh, here's a billionaire that's made all this crypto, and now they're like, yeah, well, it kind of just fell apart. So absolutely there's been an enormous amount of hype around the place as to what, it's all about. But it's also on this balance around, what is it? Yeah. And they look and they say, okay, so you talk about cryptocurrency or crypto. And so a definition that's come through is any form of currency that exists digitally or virtually and uses cryptography to secure transactions. Okay.
Right. No cryptography? No cryptography. So
my
$10 on my wallet, that's not cryptocurrency.
Correct. That's real currency. That's legal.
Yeah, right.
But what they're saying is that cryptocurrency, from that point of view, you don't have to have a central issuing or regulating authority.
Yes.
So basically, it's a decentralized way to deal with currency. And I think that's probably the biggest difference in that the central banks around the world determine how much money's come onto the market. Basically, any sort of crypto, someone owns it and they've mined for it. I mean, this is where we can go down so many different rabbit holes.
Yeah, I don't think anyone fully understands it. And even people who know a lot about it, there's still more to learn. And I don't think any of us really want to know all the technical stuff. But I think the big difference is this unregulated. And if it's unregulated, that means, that's a bit exciting if you're into that kind of rebellious stuff. Yep. But it also means it's more volatile, right?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we've seen these huge swings in in the value of it.
Yeah.
And there is no doubt about it. So the topic that we're talking about today is crypto, cryptocurrencies, and what are the implications of that. And I agree. Like the volatility has been unbelievable, but that's also where you can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Which is no different than a listed share.
Yeah.
The volatility, you can buy and sell based upon that volatility, transactional costs as you work your way through. So look, a really interesting sort of space, and this whole issue of digital tokens.
Yeah.
It's not just cryptocurrencies, it also picks up non-fungible tokens. So, again, there's all sorts of things. And so, as the Reserve Bank of Australia has stated, they're digital currencies that allow people to make payments directly to each other through an online system.
Yeah.
So then it becomes a query of, I've got it, but someone else has to be able to accept the payment.
Yeah.
So, look, it's evolving, and what really sits behind it is the blockchain technology. So, it's a computer that bounces from different systems to then pick up a code that's here, that's there, and everywhere. So, it kind of then packs it, pulls it together, and says, yep, I can confirm that is a valid payment, and therefore it's kind of released. Yeah. So, it's a very, very technical area, and I do think the underlying technology of blockchain is fascinating. It will definitely roll out further. It's a bit like the early days of the internet. That's how I see it. People are like, oh, no, no one's going to buy things online. Why would they do that? That's outrageous.
Yeah. I remember having a go at a kid at school going, he had an email address. And I'm like, what are you going to do with an email address? No one else had an email address. So at the time, that made sense. But I think I might have been a bully.
You've been eating your words ever since. You're very humble.
Email address. It turns out it kind of caught on, And I'm sure this is the same. And I know there's some legal implications for people. Should they be accepting crypto?
Yep.
Or should they, in their contract, say they do accept or don't accept crypto? It's obviously a decision to be made yourself. Depends on your business. But a lot of our clients have terms in their terms and conditions that says you must pay in Australian dollars. That's what they accept, and you can pay by BPay or by whatever it is. But crypto is certainly, used by some businesses, and it's not all criminals and shady operators
on the dark web.
Yeah, it can be mainstream. Actually, I should tell you, I've been to a few crypto information nights, where they have people from the tax office speak, or they have technical wizards speak, and all of that. And it's a very strange group that go to these things. So,
what have they sort of released them from some dark room that they're sitting over the top?
It's a very strange mix, right? Because you have people there, like you have people who are kind of rebels, who are trying to start, stick it to the system. Punks and rebels, radicals, if you like.
So you'd fit into that category.
Oh yeah, and I'm there, obviously, with my pink hair and my facial piercings, just sticking it to the man, right? So there's them, and then there's also like serious government heavies. Like people want to know, people from the tax office and people from possibly ASIO and other, security organisations want to know about it and what's going on with it from a security point of view, and from a organised crime and possibly even secret intelligence point of view. So there's basically a whole bunch of punks and secret agents there. And then there's police and enforcement, and then there's lawyers and other kind of maybe IT boffins, those sort of. So you've got a lot of kind of nerds there as well. And so it's a very strange mix of people who are interested in cryptocurrency. Some people think it's going to change the world, and other people are just trying to make money out of it, and other people are trying to tax it and control it.
Yeah, well, so the tax office, from that perspective, is that they're still working their way through.
Yeah.
But there are people that go, but it's not really an asset. Well, as far as the tax office is concerned, it is classified as an asset. And if you've bought and sold and you've made money and you've turned it from the cryptocurrency back into your local currency, and you've crystallized, that is absolutely an asset that's had a capital gain, and there's potential income that comes out of this. So from that point of view, absolutely, it is classified as an asset. And a lot of people just sort of seem to think that, it's not really. It is. And there may be some people go, but they'll never catch up with me. They will ultimately. They're working their way through. Look, there's a huge amount of change that will occur over the years in this space. And I agree with you. We've got this full spectrum. I'm very much of the camp that do not discount it. It's absolutely going to be, whether it's, Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of the other ones that are out there, and Dogecoin, and, there's all sorts of weird ones that have kind of gone out of there, but it's the underlying technology that sits there, which is this blockchain that takes out a component, and it's a very safe way to confirm that you've got either an original document or a like it's actually very, very clever, and I do think from that point of view it will become mainstream. It's just knowledge, comfort, acceptance, like you said, email, like. Who's going to need an email?
Yeah, right.
Like until it's gone through. I mean, it's like people with smartphones. I mean, I know some people are going back to just a straight phone and not having the smart capacity. But, information is out there, and people are expecting to be able to have access to this sort of stuff. And I don't see any different with, cryptocurrencies.
The big question for me is if it's going to become more popular. So if we accept that premise, and I think we probably do, it is going to become more popular. Does that mean it's going to become more valuable? So is that something, should I be buying it now so that in 20 years it's going to be worth more? Or does that mean that just because it's more popular it doesn't mean more value, does it?
Well, I suppose there's two sides to that. One is there a limited number of coins? Like that's what they say. And off the top of my head, it's 21 million or something. But there is a finite number of coins that is available. So you hear about people that are doing mining for cryptocurrency, and they have huge banks of servers trying to find these coins, because then they get value. No different than a miner coming in and digging stuff out of the ground and utilising for something else. Like it's in the digital.
Pokemon, you
kind of pick it up. So it is like it's an unusual sort of kind of concept.
Yeah.
But the big issue is that when you talk about value, so I know a few people that had purchased it and they've bought it just in case, like kind of scenario, let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
And so this is where we start to talk, and this is, I suppose, the next tier is what they call a hot and a cold wallet, which is a storage system.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so this is what I mean. You can go down all sorts of rabbit warrens here, but basically a hot wallet is a crypto storage facility that's online, okay? Because you have to have the key, and that's a whole sequence of characters and numbers, which is the key that unlocks Alex Martin's cryptocurrency. Right. You lose that key, you've lost it. Like you
going into a vault with James Bond in Switzerland, and there's a Swiss banker there, and you need the key. Otherwise,
you need the special key, and then you need to stand on one foot and jump up and down and jiggle around in certain ways.
Police are after you. Yeah.
Correct, but then you kill them all and you move on, and life goes pretty well. And then Miss Moneypenny comes along.
It's all
so you have this hot wallet, which is online, but then you can have what they call cold wallets.
Yeah.
Or other people call it a hardware wallet, that's an offline electronic device. So it might be a memory stick.
Right.
Now, this is what a lot of people have done. They've got those, but then they lose their memory stick.
Yeah.
Now they've lost their key. So the value is, to be honest, zero in the end,
right? Because
you don't have it. And that's where the value comes in. But it is scarcity.
Yeah.
It is scarcity. And that's where it will continue to be volatile. And this is where, we'll talk a bit further about, is it an investment?
Yeah.
It's kind of which way do you go? Yes. Would I put it as a key component? I mean, you hear the stories of someone who sold their house and they put everything into crypto and then it kind of all blew up.
That would be a bad idea, wouldn't it? No matter what.
Right?
You can sell your house and invest all your money that you've got in one thing. Whatever that thing is, that's a dumb idea, right?
Well, yes, I would say that. It is a dumb idea, but this is so. Would I look at it as an investment? I'm not anti it.
Yep.
But you look at it and say, can I afford to not recoup those proceeds? So would you look at it and say, and this is very general advice, I'm just trying to make sure that people understand.
Yeah.
I'm not against it, but it depends upon your personal circumstances. But if you're going to do it, put a small component. So you would put maybe 1 to 3% of your investable component. That's the sort of ranges that I would talk to people about. And so that could be, $1,000, or that could be $100,000 to another person. But you've got to be willing in certain areas to ride it. You've got to allow the volatility.
Yeah.
So again, look at it and go, well, maybe it is. Maybe I've picked the right one and it's going to be enormous and it's going to continue to grow. So it was an amazing investment in hindsight.
Yeah, yeah. But you've got to be willing to lose a lot because it's so volatile.
Always. And then we've seen these various crypto exchanges that have keeled over. Yeah. People are like, well, how do I get my money? So it's like, well, you've lost it because that exchange is gone. So that's also where you come back to, if you're going to do this, work out how there are some crypto custodians. And I won't be specific on any particular names. I know a few. And that would be my commentary to people is get a third party to help you hold and manage your cryptocurrency. Like again, I'm not anti it at all, but it's not, I certainly wouldn't be putting 50% into it, but that's my risk profile for people. Kind of. That's how I would sort of look at it, but no harm in playing it. So definitely it is an investment opportunity. Yeah. But you've got to be willing to accept the volatility and the extremely high risk nature of crypto.
Yeah, and I guess it's like if you're investing in futures or you're investing in foreign currencies or whatever, they're all risky investment types, right?
Yep.
Yeah, especially if you're borrowing to invest, which...
Well, it also comes back to some of those. So futures contracts, they're all controlled via the exchanges.
Yeah.
So there's an element of rules and regulations around it. Whereas in some of the crypto stuff, I mean, they do get traded here and there. But, look, I look at it and just think it's a really exciting space. But it is this area where you said you've got these, pink hair, I'm against, society and control of government to the government agencies looking and going, well, it's the genie's out of the bottle. Yeah. It is going to continue, people are seeking ways to come off the back of it, just like they did when the internet first came out. How can I use this connected infrastructure to make money out of it? And that will continue to grow. And so therefore, government agencies will definitely want to be over it because they just will. I mean, it's just a natural progression.
If you sell it, you pay tax at that point. It's a taxable event, if you like. Your tax crystallises when you sell the same as the share.
Correct.
So you buy it and then you sell it, and if you sell it for more than you bought it, then
you made a capital gain.
Same as a share. That's sort of fairly straightforward.
Yeah, but also some people argue with me, but if I don't tell them, they won't know because it's hard to trace it.
You can say that about lots of things.
But if it comes back into your currency and it comes back into your local currency,
it turns out in your bank account.
You've taken 10 grand out and you've got 400 back. 1,000. How does that work? Like, where are they proceeds from? Well, so.
Well, I mean, you could say you did some work for someone, and then suddenly you got income, which is
correct. So do you know what I mean? You kind of you read like a dog chasing its tail after that one. Just kind of declare it and sort of move on for it.
Yeah.
So. I mean, do you see any other, legal implications that people should be kind of aware of if they're looking to, use?
So we're talking about crypto. The big one is fraud. Crypto is subject to fraud. It's like shares. Shares can be overvalued because of fraud, and the obvious one is the FTX collapse. So Sam Bankman-Friedman is being charged with fraud. And he was issuing, and I think why it's particularly susceptible is because nobody really understands what crypto is, and nobody really understands what's going on. And they look at his wild-haired young genius doing his thing, and everyone thinks this is fantastic. And hedge funds are putting money in. People who should know better are putting money in. He's issuing his own tokens and then valuing the tokens more or less himself, and then using the tokens as security for loan. Well, effectively it was. That's right. And almost all financial fraud is effectively a Ponzi scheme, which is a scheme where you need more people to put money in to pay out the old investors. And as the old investors get money out and go, oh, this investment's great, they tell all their friends, and then they put more money in, and the whole thing just keeps going. But it can't go forever because ultimately there's no underlying value, and that was the issue with FTX. And I think. That can happen to any business. Can pump up its values, fraudulently. It can say it's put goodwill in its balance sheet and say its assets are millions of dollars. Any business can do that, although they're more controlled and more regulated, and it's easier to sort of spot in a conventional business. Much harder in crypto. And so the FTX collapse was one of probably the biggest corporate collapse in America, and the biggest corporate collapse in the world. That's a big deal, and I think the crypto is generally more susceptible to that kind of fraud than other areas. But ultimately, Sam was doing the same stuff that CEOs have been doing since the beginning of time, which is pumping up his balance sheet with fake values or overvalued assets. The tokens were valueless and they were valued very high, and then he used them as collateral for loans.
Yeah, and there's also those trading, scenarios that you've seen, or people perhaps may or may not have heard of, where they do what they refer to as the pump and dump. Yeah, so, small cap stock, not a lot of liquidity in the market. So, how can I do it? I'll push some messaging out that this, they're about to find something or they're about to sign a really big contract, and people go, oh, bang, I'll jump onto that stock. Yeah. These blokes that are holding it, they push the price up, push it out to all these unsuspecting investors and go, well, that was an open, transparent transaction. And then people go, oh, well, that was all bullshit.
Yeah, and then they sell it and they're gone.
Correct. So that similar sort of structures to me. Yeah. And it's going to happen. If there's money to be made, people are going to give it a crack.
Yeah, well, that's right. There's always people who want to get involved in a get-rich-quick scheme, and people's greed really often blinds them to a lot of things.
Yep.
I think FTX was really, everyone thought that this, that this Sam fellow was the Messiah, and that he.
Well, the music stopped, didn't it? And he was naked.
That he was just cleverer than everyone. And the reality is, the fundamentals of building wealth are the same, whether you're talking about the share market, the real estate market, or Bitcoin and some fancy thing. So I think legally you got to be. I guess the legal concern is just to try and use a well-respected and safe crypto and custodian, and just be careful about that. And then I think the other legal point is you just want to make sure your contracts deal with crypto if you want to. And as I say, most people should be accepting Australian dollars only because that's the kind of business they have. But if you accept crypto, then you've got to specify what kind of crypto you want to accept and on what terms.
Yep.
Be paid in currency that's basically valueless.
Or you receive it valued at this price, and then it kind of drops. So again, I think there's always going to be. Look, I just think it's an interesting space to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. When FTX collapsed, people were saying, crypto is going to collapse. That's rubbish. I think it's certainly obviously a big hit to the kind of psychology of crypto because of the size of the collapse.
Yep.
I'm sure there'll be future collapses with other currencies. There'll be future other corporate collapses. There'll be shares that are overvalued. All that stuff. That's just part of the world we live in. I treat crypto more or less like a sort of a volatile share.
Yep.
And if you want to include a volatile share in your portfolio, do that. Make sure you pay your tax. Do your research on it. And
with your, comes back to your risk profile, really. How much risk are you willing to take?
Yeah. So,
but everyone hears those stories at the barbecue. Oh, put in this and I made this. It was unbelievable.
Can I tell you something about that? We're talking about crypto today, but it's effectively gambling and investment. Especially sort of volatile investment really is gambling. And you always hear the story about the time they won at the races or you never hear the 7 bets before where they lost all their money.
Now, come on, Alex, don't be like that. You're just being a party pooper about the fun of making a killing.
Gambling, I can tell you. The house always wins. You want to get in?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's a separate topic.
We'll do another podcast on that one.
Yeah. All right, well, we better close it out for today. So I'd like to thank Alex from Taurus Legal Management, and he could be contacted via LinkedIn at Alex Martin or via his website at tauruslawyers.com.au.
Thanks, Dave. And I'd like to thank David Murdoch, my partner in crime from Paxton Bridge, who's at paxtonbridge.com or via LinkedIn at David Murdoch.
Perfect. All right, team. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the banter today. As always, a bit of fun, and we will catch you at the next episode.
Catch you next time.
See ya.